Good evening, race fans. Welcome to the Core Racing Network. Tonight we got round number 2 from the Long Beach Street Circuit, and we're going to see quite a few GT3 cars out there in action for the CSRL season number 11. There is 35 cars currently out there qualifying, putting their last final laps here as qualifying is just about ending here, but that is a lot of cars to be on any street, let alone a street circuit. So it's going to be some tight quarters out here tonight. Ain't no runoffs here on street circuits other than you know, some of these corners you can go straight if you blow the entry to the corner and kind of just work your way through a chicane. But it is not easy. Street circuits are very, very difficult to drive, let alone try and set up a pass. But there's a lot of talented drivers out here, so we'll see what they can do out here tonight. Carl Hanworth joined in the booth by Jimmy Covert. Jimmy, street circuits here, I don't want to say they're as bad for me as short tracks, but they're pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this, if you want to compare this to the short tracks of ovals, but yeah, they're very confined, and there has to be a lot of patience between drivers. You know, the passes are going to happen. People are going to make mistakes, and it could block the whole roadway. So drivers really need to pay attention, heads up, watching relatives, in-car spotters, out-of-car spotters, your best friend, whatever, looking over your shoulder. Something needs to, you know, happen to give way for these drivers to get around here at a good clip here. You know, it'd be maybe a lot of drivers, maybe Alt F4 and to get out of the way to keep things kind of flowing. So we'll see how things will kind of proceed here tonight, but looking forward to it.
Had a heck of a race last week at Daytona for the opener with Craig Jancic taking the win, but only just .084 over Devin Young in second place, and had a good showing for Eli Singh taking the top spot in the AM class, but a lot of really close finishes right there at the line. We'll see. Hopefully they can put on just as good of a show here tonight, but that is going to do it for qualifying. These drivers getting gridded up. So Jimmy, why don't you give us a rundown of tonight's starting order?
Yeah, quick rundown of the starting order here tonight is going to be Colin Winslow on the pole here tonight over Devin Young, then Craig Jancic and Rich Patrico in fourth, Bryce Rayner in fifth, Christopher Hamilton's sitting in sixth, Savani is out there in seventh, Anthony Jenkins in eighth, Eli Singh in there in ninth, Herbert Pineda in 10th, Sheik Ali in 11th, Frank Pisano in 12th, Steve Brown is in 13th, Jason Shermatz is in 14th, and Nicholas Cote is in here for your top 15. Then the rest of the field will be Christian Torres is 16th, Brandon Powell in 17th, Tyler Torvell and Troy Saylor and Dan Herrera there will round out your top 20. Then Jake Mowdy in 21st, Jim Herrick in 22nd, Brandon Potts in 23rd, Jim Dutton in 24th, Glenn Lawson in 25th, Renan DeLima in 26th, Todd Turville in 27th, Steve Santana's in 28th, Marco Chacon is in 29th, Randy Ayers in 30th, William Burrell will be in 31st, Jay Little in 32nd, Paul Bailey in 33rd, Stephen Price in 34th, Marshall Williams 35th, and Cesar Torres will round out your 36 car field here tonight. And Carl, with a tricky start for these drivers, you know, I would be half tempted to just start out of the pits.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly an option, especially turn one, maybe not necessarily the toughest corner. It's just, you know, your prototypical kind of left-hand turn that you see, a 90-degree turn on these street circuits, but it's really what it feeds to, and what it feeds to is trying to get a picture of it here real quick as my mouse just decides to crap out, but it feeds to the fountain area, and it's a very tight, tricky little section. And you take a look at it right here. This is where it feeds into, and you see it's very, very tight. I mean, technically you can fit 2 cars there, but you're not going to want to. It's just too tight of skating through there. So we'll see what the drivers decide to do. It looks like pretty much everybody, but maybe the last 2 drivers here are going to be starting on the actual grid, but we'll go ahead and take it over to the start of the race. Again, it's going to be Colin Winslow, Devin Young on the front row, Craig Jancic in third. And I mean, Jancic mentioned how many times how much he is looking forward to this one. He's looking forward to this for a while, but this is kind of first we don't see him on the pole, and he's got Colin Winslow, who's certainly always nipping at his heels, and then Devin Young, who was nipping at his heels all the way to the line last week. But this is the tightest, toughest corner possibly in all of racing here. That hairpin there to end it out. I mean, you see how tight these drivers have to keep it just to get around that corner, and I don't think everybody's going to make it through before you even get the green flag. As it is indeed waving right now. You see Marty up in the top left there. We are racing here at Long Beach around this sweeping, I guess technically turn number 1, but it's really turn number 0 as they head off down now into turn number 1. And it gets tight here after turn number 1 very quickly. Looks like the field gonna make it through for the most part. And then all right to single file. Couple going double wide through there. Very tricky section. But you see by the time they come out there, it's pretty much all single file, heading off into turn number 4 and through the rest of the track.
Oh, and one person up there and taking a drink out of the fountain.
Yeah, try to take a look and see who that was. There's, unfortunately for SDK, and it just sees everybody crash on that first lap because everybody going so slow. But Colin Winslow is going to be out there as your leader. Craig Jancic, Devin Young, Rich Petrucco, Chris Hamilton for your top 5. For the most part, I think all these drivers really got through those first few corners about as good as you can. I mean, it is not easy if it's 10 cars out there in the field to get through those first couple corners. We'll see him now heading for the first time into turn number 11, and you see just how tight this turn is. It is not easy at all getting through here and just getting that car rotating. You certainly can't go too wide here, or somebody's going to have to give, especially that car on the outside, or they're going to be into that barrier very quickly.
Yeah, it's a tough, like you said, tough corner there, as tight as it is. And you know, Carl, I had the opportunity to do an endurance event here. It was just not a super long endurance event, but 3 hours is plenty enough time to really despise this track as a road driver. But you know, we were running good and ended up in that corner where, you know, somebody wrecked and they're blocking the way, and somebody come behind us and hit us. So I ended up, you know, putting a meatball in the car. So it really is a very tricky corner, and you have to be patient with it. As fast as you want to get around there, you just can't. You have to let the car turn, and you have to do it correctly. You have to get it slowed down, start turning before you hit that apex. So when the car does hit the apex and eventually start pointing down the straightaway, the front straightaway, you can actually get on the gas. So a lot of patience are going to be needed for that driver for that corner for, you know, many more laps here.
Yeah, and for anyone that's a fan of the Austin Powers movies, you can certainly take a look at the situation where he gets the car turned sideways, and it takes him about 35 fronts and backs to get that thing turned around. That's how tight this track can feel at times, and especially, like you said, Jimmy, I mean, if somebody spins out in front of you, you go into this front stretch here, and it looks so nice and wide. It looks, you know, 3-4 lanes wide. But as soon as you get into the heart of this track, it really narrows up, and it really gets tight out there. So, you know, if somebody spins right here in the fountain area, you pretty much got to sit there and wait until they get themselves corrected and get back going. And luckily, at least for these GT3 cars, not the biggest cars on the service. You know, if you're out here with a prototype or something like that, that's a little bit tougher to make you know, some tight turns to get that thing righted. I'm sure it's even worse. The GT3s maybe have a little bit of an advantage that way, but the man that's got the sheer clear-cut advantage is the 19 of Winslow right now, out in front by 1 second over Jancic, Devin Young, Rich Petrucco, Chris Hamilton for your top 5, top running. AM driver once again here is going to be the 13 of Eli Singh, up in 6th spot overall. And you got Herbert Grenada, Siviani Madrigal, Sheik Ali, and Frank Pisano for your top 10.
Eli might be sitting in 6th, but definitely missing a bumper. So,
yeah, I'm just seeing that right now. That thing is eating for sure.
He definitely doesn't have to worry about any airflow issues on the front end of those brakes, but it's going to come to corner pits possibly. But yep, has a meatball, so big implications there for the number 13. It's going to put him in the pits. See, Rice Biner also has a meatball, so he's down in the pits getting that taken care of. I've seen a little incident happen not too long ago with Nicholas Coate, Jake Moody, Jim Herrick, Jim Dutton, and Willie Burrow, and obviously that could be just some cars slowing down, but obviously some an incident happening in the back, probably just a slide and just people checking up. So back here, just kind of check on our infamous corner here, and
yeah, just drivers going slow,
getting around that corner. So SDK is going to pick up that super slowdown, showing us that maybe something happened. That's just how slow that corner is.
This is if you're an admin that uses SDK for reviews, this is a review nightmare. Every lap you're going to see 30 or 40 different red marks there for cars that crashed, when really it's just because they're going a little bit too slow, and SDK picks it up as a car that crashed, even if they're just kind of trundling down the track. But for the most part, it looks like everyone has survived so far for these first couple laps, or the first 5 minutes of this race, and really that is a key here. As we got a nice little battle between Jake Mowdy and Brandon Potts, not for position in their classes, but position overall here for 17th and 18th. And that's what makes this difficult. I mean, Jimmy, I've talked about it ad nauseum that I don't like these street circuits because I feel like it's just really, really tough to pass. And you mentioned that you kind of have to rely on somebody else's mistakes, or you just have to flat out send it. And one of the reasons why neither of us care too much for the short tracks is because of that fact. I mean, you have to wait for somebody to make a mistake, or you have to send it. So yeah, I mean, that's why I consider these kind of the short track version of road courses. And it takes so much patience, and you have to really, really try and set up a pass, and you have to either get a really good launch out of a corner, you have to really brake late and kind of dive in on somebody. And there's not really that many opportunities here at Long Beach. At the end of this straightaway right here is a good opportunity. If you get a good run out of the previous corner, you can kind of dive it up to the inside if you can brake late enough. But it's tough. You really have to try and set these passes up and work on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just obviously extreme focus. So I mean, it is a tough track. They're going to be out here for 45 minutes total by the time they're done. We're about 10 minutes in, so drivers still have 35 minutes. They're not quite to the point where we're catching up to lap traffic yet, I don't believe. So I mean, they have a little bit of time, but that's going to play a big role. If these front runners can catch up to those drivers and find themselves in a position to make their way around. But we already seen that this track has already taken a toll on a few drivers. Obviously we talked to Eli last week, being one of the top drivers for his division, and with a meatball down, bringing it in, and I think they get a fast repair here. So I'm sure, not looking to, obviously had to use it, but not wanting to happen to have to use another one, or maybe just be out, because I think they just get one. Look at the info. I think it's just one. Yeah, fast repair is one. So, if the driver does take a fast repair, like puts it in the wall, they can, come in, take some fuel and get that fast repair, and maybe put themselves in a situation where they don't have to come back in again. So, maybe that's what Eli is working on now. So, but he's gonna have to work his way through the field if he's got some speed.
We'll take a ride on board here with our M-Class leader. And that is Jason Shermatz coming around after the start-finish line. For turn number 1 here, you want to get it over as far to the right as possible. You can't go across those yellow lines, or you can get a penalty cutting in there hard to the left, and then just really working it through this tight little chicane here around the fountain, all the way to the left against the wall, catching a little bit of curb just to help you to rotate around. And then same thing here, you're taking a little bit more curb. Watch that thing doesn't bounce around on you. It's going to shoot right out into the wall. And then all the way over to the right-hand side, same thing, another 90-degree left-hand turn. Inside, you can use that curb to kind of help you turn a little bit more. Let the car drift out there, shift it all the way back to the left. Catching a bunch of curb here. You can really kind of cut that corner when you see him struggling to get that power down in the Porsche before you go down to the longest straightaway here on the track. All the way to the left against the wall once again. Catch a little bit of curb, but you can get those rumble strips there. It can sometimes upset the car, so you really want to keep it on the inside there. And long sweeper to the left before you have the hard, you see full lock to the right-hand side there, and it might even scrape the wall there a little bit on the exit for the hairpin. But that is your lap around Long Beach. It's only about 1 minute and 20 seconds, but man, it feels like it's about 5 minutes long.
Yeah, it seems longer than it normally than what it really is, but it's because of how much focus you need to put into this track. You don't want to miss a braking point. It's better to, you know, brake early and make the corner, and then miss the braking point and then get into the wall. But you can see there the 11 being able to make the way by, but it looks like Devin, who was that? Somebody was going into the pits.
Yeah, there was Brandon Potts going into in the pit lane. I don't know if he had some issues. It might have just been an early pit stop here, and this is certainly a place that it's not a bad idea to kind of get off cycle if you can find your way out there in a nice little pocket coming out of a pit lane to get some clear air, clear vision in front of you to just lay down some laps. You can really gain once the pit cycle goes through here on the short pit. But out front, it is Colin Winslow out there by 1.5 seconds, doing a really good job out front. Frank Jancic second, Rich Petrucco in third. Looks like Chris Hamilton has moved up into fourth position over Herbert Pineda, Savani Madrigal, Chica Lee, Frank Pisano, Jason Shermatz, and Brandon Powell are going to round out your top 10. This is the pass that Hamilton used to get around Devin Young, and trying to look down the order here. It looks like Devin Young is he's another one that decided to end up coming into the pits on lap number 6, but trying to see where exactly. I guess he must have been in the pits, and that's how the pass happened. As this is Hamilton right behind Petrucco. You see that is still the battle going on right now, so really close between third and fourth right now as the 20 of Hamilton trying to move up into the podium position here. He's got Petrucco right in front in the Acura, and it's really a kind of a mix. There's a lot of Acuras out here tonight. Certainly got a lot of Porsches out here as usual, and then a few from McLarens spread out through the field, a couple of Fords. But it seems like the Acura seems to be a kind of a big pull here tonight. And looking at the top 10, we got 5 out of the top 10 in Acuras tonight.
Yeah, obviously the drivers are forced to use one or their second car of choice for the season here. A lot of drivers choosing the Acura. It looks like the Porsche, a couple McLarens out there. We do see a couple rare Fords, even a Lambo, but no Mercedes.
No Ferrari. The Ferrari does not get any love. One Ferrari, Jake Bowdy in the Ferrari, but
no BMW.
Now I'm really surprised of how far the Ferrari has dropped.
Well, a big thing is the Ferrari and the McLaren really drive close as far as handling, gearing, and everything. And the McLaren, obviously being new, has been the flavor of the month, I guess. So, and in personal opinion, I think McLaren looks a lot sexier too. So, but there's that.
I mean, we say it all the time, look fast, go fast. So, if you feel like you're in a box of a car, which sometimes when you're in the Beamer, that's kind of what it feels like. I don't blame you for not wanting to take her out there, but still a good battle here for third place overall between Petrucco and Hamilton. We'll jump back a little bit deeper in the field and seeing some more drivers come into the pits as this is now Christian Ortiz Torres taking over third place in the AM class right now, running 11th place overall, but it's probably about a third of the field, maybe more, that have already come into the pits or in the pits right now. Anthony Jenkins, Steve Brown, Tyler Torville, the 3 Pro class drivers in the pits at the moment. But out front, it is Winslow still holding on to a 1.5 second lead. It's kind of been stagnant right around that time, just kind of ebbing and flowing back and forth, but right on about 1.5 seconds. But Jancic is 4.5 seconds ahead of Rich Petrucco, so it's really a 2-car breakaway at the front.
Yeah, and I mean, those cars have the obviously been having good runs. Winslow's been out there out front from the get-go, and just clean air, nobody to really worry about. And if Jancic is just worried about getting a really good finish here tonight, probably not pushing the issue too much. There's also, Carl, we're not even at the halfway mark, so there is always that opportunity that Winslow makes a mistake, puts it in the wall, and then Jancic can basically take over, from his mistake. So he's not out of it by much. So 1 second back here, and he's got him in his sights. So, and they're coming up on traffic, and that could play a huge role.
Yeah, we're a third of the way through this race right now, and you see the gap right now. Looking at Jancic as they go through some lap traffic. Colin Winslow still out there in the lead, but the lead is getting a little bit smaller. 1.28 seconds right now is the lead. Petrucco in third place by about 0.4 of a second over Hamilton. Another close battle is back here for fifth position. Herbert Pineda in fifth, but Siviane Madrigal right there in sixth place, right on his back bumper, trying to get another Acura towards the front. But the highest running McLaren right now is Pineda in fifth. Back further in the field, you got Jim Herrick right now in 12th place, and I almost don't want to key on him because I feel like every time we key on Herrick, something goes wrong. But out there in the Lambo tonight, and obviously him and his teammate Dan Herrera, and well, I guess they're the Lambros tonight, as you got Dan Herrera right there in 14th position, but Herrick in 12th. Jim Dutton, the sandwich right there in the pink Simpsons Porsche. And then a little bit further back, you see Eli Singh trying to make up for some lost time there, having that issue and having to pit early and get that repair done as he is back out there, but buried in the field, 21st overall, 11th in the AM class, and certainly needs some help here. But the good news is he is the highest running car that has come into the pit so far. So again, we'll see where everything plays out once the pit cycle comes through.
And he's working his way through traffic, obviously. Back and forth here, getting around some lap traffic, and that's the place that you want to get the pass done. And the other drivers, if you're a lap car, is probably where you're lifting, to let them by, because it's just the easiest place, to be honest, as they work their way past the fountain here, down through some turns. But yeah, you might have a small advantage being was a few laps out before he actually came in. So we'll see if that's enough to put him back for a great finish. If he can fuel save, the opportunity to fuel save is here. Obviously, you can lift way before corners, carry your speed, low throttle inputs. So there's always that chance that he might not have to pit.
I want to thank everyone for tuning in here tonight. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe. Get you in touch with everything that CRN has to offer. I want to thank our sponsors as well. We mentioned Jim Herrick earlier. Thank him and 40 Racewear, Barnum PC, and Simcraft for their sponsorship here of the series.
Pit stops are happening. I see a Winslow now down in the pits for his stop.
Winslow has been in and is out. He's gotten out ahead of Jancic. Jancic also joined him in the pits, and looks like a nice size gap in between Winslow and Jancic, and really it's all because of that pit lane time. We'll bring the pit lane times up right now, and it's really just the pit time itself. You see it right there, how long they were in their pit stall. Winslow in his pit stall for about 1 or 2.2 seconds less than Craig Jancic, and on track that ends up being a huge advantage. He's now got a 2.7 second lead over Jancic. They got Glenn Lazan in between him right now, but you see he doesn't exactly have a clear windshield, Jimmy. He is in the midst of some battling in front. He's got Herrera and Dutton going at it right in front of him. And there it looks like Jim Herrick maybe ducking into the pits, so one of them out of the way. But man, what a gift for Craig Jancic to close right back in. You see again Lazan in between them right now, but Jancic closed in about 2 seconds just on that little battle right there. And it's not over.
No, it's definitely not over. You gotta work your way through the field, but the other driver has to as well. It's just who's going to get lucky and get the better. Ooh, in through the fountain.
Winslow gives Dutton a shot into the fountain, and now we've got a battle once again as Jancic closes right on the back bumper of Winslow, and now Winslow has still got Barrera right in front of him. Needs to figure out a way around, but here comes Jancic, dive into the corner, and we've got some action. Jancic goes around. Looks like he's gonna get it right and real close there as Renan Lima comes around the corner, and tough to see through that smoke coming through there. But certainly some action right there as Jancic getting ahead of Jim Dutton, but that was some pretty close, tight racing, and really kind of, like we said before, it's what you have to do. You have to try and make those moves whenever you can, and Jancic threw one in there, and the door was slammed by Winslow.
YOLO, send it, and not trying to take people out, obviously on purpose, but just a small move, car maybe on colder tires, maybe they were overheated, braking. You can see that deep dive there here on this corner, and a little pinch, and just not quite enough room there for the Acura to make it by on the inside of the Porsche. And the Acura's going to lose it as the 19 rolls on.
You see all the smoke that it kicks up, and certainly not easy to see coming around through that corner. And luckily, right there, the 82, Brendan Lima gets around safely. And really for Craig Jansen, he was able to keep it off the walls as well, not just on the spin around afterwards, but even on the initial contact. He was able to avoid that inside wall, or he could end up taking some more damage. But other than that, it looks like the 88 is pretty clean, and he can try and mount another battle, but he has lost that position. It is now Colin Winslow in first. Rich Petrucco is in second place, and he has shaken free of Chris Hamilton. I'm not seeing what exactly happened to Hamilton here. Actually, that's why, because he is your overall leader right now. He has yet to come into the pits. That would be why he's not up in the mix, and maybe this is not a bad move here for Chris, because with those guys getting involved in some issues right there, this could be a little godsend here, and maybe he can be right up there battling for this lead and the win if he decides to make the pit stop at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, pit stops are always a gamble. When to do them. Sometimes earlier is better. I know some overlays give you an estimate where you're going to come out in traffic, and if Chris is running something like that, if you look back and you're going to drop you out in the middle of the previous leaders battle, and maybe I'm going to wait a lap or two. Whether either they move up and I fall out or come out behind them, or they get into each other and I end up coming back out in front of them. So if Chris has the fuel, I recommend staying out. He's doing a good job. Got clean air front and back, so not too much to worry about but himself.
Well, we got a chance here, and we're probably halfway through this pit cycle. About half the cars have come into the pits. We're going to go ahead and crank it up here on our side and give everyone out there in Sierra Nation a little love to hear it. Still got a few more cars left to come into the pits, but man, we've got a battle up at what will eventually be the front, as we got Brandon Powell, Frank Bassano in the pits now. Herbert Pineda, the last one, actually two of them out there. Herbert Pineda and Renan de Lima are the last two that have yet to come in the pit lane, but Colin Winslow is right here. You see him on the left side of your screen. That is going to be your overall leader once the pit cycle completes, but it's not by much, 0.7 seconds right here back to Chris Hamilton, who used a beautiful pick move over Rich Petrucco, and traffic management is going to be absolutely key here to finish this thing out. Jimmy, why don't you go ahead and, as I'm blinking out here majorly, there we go, coming back here. All right, let's try that again. So, Jimmy, why don't you give us a rundown of how tough it is out here trying to get through this traffic and how it can actually be to your benefit?
Yeah, you can use that traffic, that slow traffic, to benefit. So obviously they're going to slow you up, you know, setting them up and getting them to the right point, the right spot to get by them. But, you know, the driver in front of you might be slowing down. So, you know, if they go inside, it might be time for you to make that send so you can catch up onto their bumper and then possibly, you know, catch them on a, you know, a situation where they're stuck behind somebody, and then you make the move and you basically use them as a pick. So you using that lap traffic to slow that driver down, and that's kind of what Chris did. Just kind of made the move and got around, has been able to run some clean air. Now Rich needs to deal with the traffic. So, but right now, I'm sure that's what Chris is doing right now. They're working their way through traffic. He's trying to find his opportunity. He's got to basically follow the leader there with Winslow until he has the opportunity to maybe, you know, use a lap car or another competitor to maybe set himself up for a pass.
We'll take a look back here and show you exactly how this happened. As you see, Hamilton on the outside doesn't have the pass completed just yet, but you see the orange lap car right in front. Petrucco gets stuck behind under braking. Hamilton easily able to make the pass, and that's kind of what we talk about as a pick move there, using the lap car to your advantage. And that's what has gotten Hamilton into second place right now. But you see right there, the 19 of Winslow is your leader. Second place, Chris Hamilton right there, 0.6 of a second back. Petrucco still dealing with some lap traffic and trying to keep up with these drivers. We're certainly having a better race this week, as I was a bit rough at Daytona last week, but up there in what is going to be the podium spots as Herbert Pineda finally decides to come into the pits. The top runner in the M class is Brandon Powell, as he has got the 831 up into 7th place overall. But after that earlier incident, Eli Singh has worked his way back up into 8th place overall, 2nd in the AM class. He's got some competition right behind, not for position, as that's Nicholas Cote and Frank Bassano trying to get around him for the overall position, but a nice little comeback there after the major damage on the front end of that 13. Singh's got it back up into 2nd place in the AM class. 3rd place in the AM is in 12th place overall. That is Christian Ortiz Torres, as he is just kind of out there by himself. He's got about 6 seconds in front of him to the next car, that being Jake Mowdy in 11th overall, but a pro car position. He is currently 14 seconds behind Eli Singh for 2nd place, and then he's got about 3 seconds back to Troy Saylor in 4th place in the AM class. But pretty good run from Christian Ortiz Torres. I'm sure he's happy to be back in the AM class this season. Obviously, former AM class champion, had to spend some time up in the pro class, but back down where he feels maybe a little bit more comfortable. But I tell you what, I'm really surprised at Brandon Powell out here tonight, and I'm going to knock on wood, because I know we've certainly given him the broadcaster's curse once or twice, but we're down to less than 10 minutes left in this race, Jimmy.
I mean, it wasn't me giving Brandon a broadcaster curse. That was you and Joe all last season. But no, yeah, this is a tough one, and just to see these drivers continue to drive around here and, you know, attempt passes and try, because it is hard. You know, this is, you know, not an easy place to run. You know, maybe when you're just doing laps, you know, pushing the limits, it's not too bad. But when you get out there, you have traffic. You have other competitors wanting your spot or wanting to get by to, you know, keep going through the field. It is difficult, and you find yourself maybe slapping the wall, and hopefully you don't take your steering out of whack, because that can happen. So it's just it's a very difficult track, and it's a long one. It's a hard one. It's very complex, and these drivers are coming down to the final 5 minutes, so about 4 or 5 more laps here for these leaders, as Colin Winslow is taking the lead back, with Chris Hamilton in second, Rich is in third, Craig Jancik's back in fourth, Eric Pineda is back there in 5, Savani is back there in 6, Brandon Powell's in 7th, Eli up there in 8th, and Nicholas Coate is in 9th. And there's a battle between 10th and 11th right now. I think it's Nicholas Coate and Frank Pizzano. Actually, it's 11th. It's Anthony Jacobs. There's a bunch of stuff going on in the middle of the pack there.
Yeah, and you mentioned, about this track being difficult. I mean, if you look at the turns, you look at the track map, you may not think there's that much to it, as man. It's tough just navigating these lap traffic here, as they're trying to do their best to not get in the way and not get and mix these things. But again, you look at some of these turns and you look at the track map, and it doesn't look that daunting. It just looks like a lot of 90-degree turns. You're making a 90-degree to the left, you're making a 90-degree to the right. Nothing too crazy, but everything has got to flow. Well, this section right here is about the only section you can kind of just breathe a little bit. But then you come into the final section of the track. It's a nice 90-degree to the right, but then you need to sweep it back over to the right on exit to set up for the left, and it's got to be tight on the left because you got to set up for this exit here through the hairpin. Everything just kind of flows into each other, and you need to have a good flow on this track. And man, it's not easy if you're out there in practice just by yourself, nobody else on the track in perfect conditions. Throw another 30 some cars out there, good luck. I mean, it's not easy.
Yeah, and the drivers are basically a lot of things going on. I see there's a little bit of an incident back there with Cesar Torres. I'm not quite sure what happened back there, but definitely some action happening towards the back of the field. I hear some chatter on the radio as well. So it can get frustrating. And another thing that makes this track so daunting or just a challenge is just you feel like you're boxed in, like all the time. You come around a corner, there's a wall. You go down a straightaway, there's a wall. You try to pass somebody, there's another wall. So, I mean, you got to stay off them walls. You got to know the width of your car. And you gotta hit them. You gotta hit them spots. You gotta hit them braking markers for yourself in order to get your car around here at a good clip. These drivers are running roughly around 119s. The best being I think 118. I think it was the fastest by Winslow, I believe. But I did get a chance to get a couple laps out there, Carl, while I was waiting for things to kind of get going here this evening. And I was only able to break down the 119s. I kind of feel good. I mean, but a lot of these drivers are putting closer times into that 118 mark. So definitely would have been a challenge for me out here tonight. And that I don't have as many laps on here as probably some of these other drivers. So the odds of
probably because you don't want to
would have been pretty high.
You don't want to. Let's be honest.
I don't want to.
Well, this thing is.
I have some races here, but they're definitely not the laps that are required for the Duke keep doing these types of tracks over and over and over again.
Well, we are coming down to the end of it here as these drivers right here, Chris Hamilton and Colin Winslow, still doing battle. It's stretched out a little bit here for Winslow, but it's all going to depend on when he catches that traffic, how he catches it, how aware they are of the leaders coming up on them. I mean, that's really going to tell the tale of the tape here for the end of this race as we're down to the last 5 minutes here. Colin Winslow, Chris Hamilton in front, and they got about a 4-second lead over Rich Petrucco in third. Craig Jancik is another 5, almost 6 seconds back in fourth place. Then Herbert Pineda rounds out your top 5. And those are all pro class drivers, your top running AM class drivers right now. Brandon Powell in the 7th, Eli Singh in 10th, Christian Ortiz Torres in 14th, Troy Sawyer in 15th, and then Glenn Lenzon in 17th. Those are your top 5 running AM class drivers. But all in all, I think it's been a pretty good one. I haven't seen anybody Austin Power out there yet. I'm afraid to click on these 87 crashes a lap because I know they're not all crashing. I know a lot of them is just people slowing down. But man, I
mean, you can just click on their name. Don't click on that little just click on your name and
see what
you
happens.
can kind of tell, you know, flip-flopping with some of the drivers in the back of the field. I mean, you got a good battle there, not only here in the front with Christopher Hamilton and Colin Winslow, but if you look back there right around the 15th and 16th, Troy Saylor, Dan Morara, you know, a lot of good battle and, you know, nose to tail between these drivers as well. So, you know, it's something, you know, it's not just at the front where these drivers are competing back and forth. These middle pack drivers, you know, obviously we need them out there, so we've got something else to watch, but they're doing their dang just to try to better themselves and hopefully, you know, be able to run up front one day.
So I know this is probably a catch-22 type of question, but what would you rather be out here? Would you rather be one of these leaders trying to work through this lap traffic? Or would you rather have the leaders bearing down on you as you are lap traffic? Which is scarier? Which is scarier?
with the current situation of this weekend coming up and being in an LMP2, going to a multi-engine 24-hour race at Daytona, I would prefer to be the fastest car, only because I don't have to worry about somebody sending it in on me. And I can control, you know, what happens, you know, with traffic a lot better. But, you know, when you're out there, you're in the slower car, you know, whether it's all the same class, you know, you're just wondering when that person is going to decide, you know, you gotta almost guess. You try to hold your line, or you're like, all right, if I just go over here, just lift for just a half a second, he'll go right by, but he doesn't make the move. Now what do you do? Now you're slower through the corner, maybe you lost your braking point and you end up losing it. So there's a lot of ups and downs depending on what you want to do. Some people are comfortable allowing people just to go by. You know, you're like, all right, somebody's coming, I'll just shift to the side and go by, and I'll just run the rest of my race. But yeah, I like to be the guy in control and being able to make the pass. So if I'm a faster driver, you know, that's where I want to be. I want to be up front, basically managing the traffic myself instead of somebody managing me.
But it takes so much, humbleness, I guess, to allow a driver to pass you for position. But there's times where that is absolutely 100% the better call, especially in the, you know, the endurance races like you're talking about. If there's a car that is faster and that's you know, harrying you around the track, you're going to overdrive your car. You're going to, you know, you're going to either make a mistake that ends up ending your race. You're going to kill your tires. That ultimately is going to kill your pace. There's so many bad things that can happen from just, you know, fighting with that driver that is a little bit faster than you. Is we got a heck of a battle right here between Marco Ciccone and Devin Young back here in 18th and 19th. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of times where just letting that faster car go by is so much better. You're just going to get back into your own pace, and you're not going to feel like you're looking in the mirror, you know, 100 times a lap just to make sure that you're keeping them behind you. And you get to go to school a little bit. You get to try and find out, you know, why is this guy faster? Is he faster just because he's drafting me, or is he, you know, running a different line through a certain corner? So, you know, sometimes it's just it pays to just be a little humble and let that driver go by.
Yeah, right now with that time rolling down, looking for that winner here to be wait for that white flag, and if it's not this time by, it should be.
You see it right there, Barney waving the white flag on your left. One more lap to go here at Long Beach, and you see the lead right here, 0.3 of a second. Does Hamilton have anything up his sleeve? Does he have any spot on this track where he can send a late lunge and try and make a move here for the win? They head into the fountain section for the last time. Still Winslow over Hamilton. These drivers have really nobody, you know, battling them certainly from behind, but nobody that close in front as well. You see the next car up the track quite a ways away, so I don't think lap traffic is going to come into play on this last lap. So Hamilton's going to have to get it done on sheer driving ability here on the last lap, and it's going to be tough here on Winslow. You've seen Jancic trying to make a move. That didn't exactly work out too well for him as they head onto the backstretch for the final time. It's a half a second now separating Winslow from Hamilton, and certainly looks to be in the hands of Winslow to get this thing done. Makes the final right-hand turn to head into the final section of the track. Just needs to get this thing rotated around through the hairpin. And he is going to do it. Colin Winslow gets the power down in that Porsche. It's going to be a Porsche 1-2. Hamilton is going to come home in second. It is going to be Winslow on the top step of the podium here tonight. Rich Petrucco, his first time on the podium after coming back after his long hiatus. He is going to grab a podium here tonight. Craig Jancic looks like he is going to stop. Not sure if he crossed the line there or not.
I would hope so.
Yeah, I believe he did. He did. Okay. I was going to say, I'm like, I was wondering if he said what. That's really the shocking point to me right there is Greg Jancic looking forward to this race, and to me it seemed like the race that he's looked forward to the most out of these last how many seasons. He was really looking forward to Long Beach here. Could not see him on the podium. That is a shocker here tonight. But Herbert Pineda going to round out your top 5. And then in the AM class, Brandon Powell is going to get it done here tonight. The 831 on the top step for the AM class, finishing 7th overall. Eli Singh bouncing back, getting the top 10 here once again. 2nd place overall in or 10th place overall, 2nd place in the AM class. Christian Ortiz Torres gets his first podium back in the AM class here tonight in the 11. Troy Saylor and Glenn Lazan going to round out your top 5 for the AM class. But man, I'm so glad, Jimmy, that you're up here in the booth for this one, because I would not want to be out there on the track for so many reasons.
Well, I had an itch, like wanting to go out there, and it's only because just the road racing. I just something about it, Carl. I know these are dangerous and treacherous, but I just want to go out there and try and give these things a whirl, And obviously that itch is coming here just as I'm preparing myself to head over to Daytona here just very shortly and take the track over there. But looking to talk to these drivers before I do that and see how their race went and let them tell their side of the story.
We'll get to them as soon as we get a chance to here, as just waiting for them to jump into the waiting room. But in the meantime, Jimmy, well, I guess I should probably ask first if you're still in the session to give us a rundown of the orders. Okay, and then Jimmy, why don't you give us a rundown of those final results here for tonight?
Yeah, quick rundown of the drivers here tonight and what they finished, and just go down, starting at the top. It will be Colin Winslow, followed by Chris Hamilton for your top 2, and then Rich is there back in P number 3. Craig Jancic, Herbert Pineda back in P number 5. Savani will finish in 6th. Brandon Powell, Nicholas Coate, Frank Pisano, and Eli Singh will round out your top 10. Then you have Jake Mowdy, Anthony Jenkins, Tyler Torville, Christian Torres, Troy Saylor, Dan Morera, Glenn Walzen, Mark Chacon, Devon Young, and Renan Dilemma back there for your top 20. And then you have Randall Ayers, Jason Schmertz, Shreek Ailey, Cesar Torres, Todd Terville, Jay Little, William Burrell, Stephen Price, Jim Herrick, Paul Bailey for your top 30. Then Steve Santana, Marshall Williams, Steve Brown, Brandon Potts, Bryce Rayner, and Jim Dutton for your 36 car field tonight.
Great run by all these drivers out here, and unfortunately for some of them not making the full amount of laps here tonight, but it was not easy, and the fact that majority of these cars were still out there running at the end. I believe we still had at least 32, if not 33 cars still running at the end of this race, so that is a credit to them as well. But another credit to them, we don't have to mess around. These guys are ready for their interviews. I didn't even have to ask them, and I have to check on them. They're ready to go, and that's what I like to see. So we'll go ahead and start to bring them in, and we're going to start with our 3rd place finisher in the AM class, and that is going to be the 11 of Christian Ortiz Torres. Christian, it feels like it's been a while since we had you in here. I know partly that's due to you having to mix it around with those pro guys for the last season, but certainly, I'm sure, happy to be back in the AM class and happy to be talking to us again here in the podium.
Yeah, happy to be back for another season, and yeah, definitely excited to be back in the podium AM this season. So we'll see what happens. Everybody up front is so competitive.
Yeah, so talk to me about street circuits. I mean, we talked, kind of ad nauseum up here in the booth about how difficult it is, but I mean, making your way through this track, and for you guys in the AM class, typically around the mid pack, at at the best, you know, you're back half of the top 10. How difficult is it kind of mixed in between with everybody, especially on those first couple laps when you're all just trying to, you know, kind of get into those cattle chutes and find your way through there?
Yeah, I mean, here at Long Beach, yeah, the first few laps are, yeah, you gotta watch out. You gotta tone it down quite a bit because a lot of traffic, and yeah, your braking points are no longer where you think they are. So you gotta, yeah, your first 4 or 5 laps, you gotta take it easy, and then once you see your pace going, then you also gotta get out of the mindset of putting hot laps and trying, for me at least, trying to be safe and picking safe braking points and keep it going till the end.
So I kind of put Jimmy on the spot with a you know, what would you rather be, a lap car or a lead lap car, trying to work your way through here? But I'll put you on the spot in a different way. What do you think is more difficult mentally? A track like this, Long Beach, where you have really no chance at runoffs. You can't overdrive the corners at all. You have to really keep it in between those walls and off the walls. Or, you know, a endurance race like, you know, like this weekend we got the Daytona 24 coming up. What's kind of more mentally taxing, 45 minutes here, or, you know, a regular, you know, hour or 2 hour stint at Daytona?
Well, I want to say Long Beach is gonna be.
It's okay, you can say it, because I'll say it for you.
Yeah, yeah. I'd rather be at Daytona.
All right, buddy. Well,
come on over. We're about to go there.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully your success carries over to the Daytona if you're going to be running this week as you grab a podium here tonight. So congrats once again. Good talking to you once again up here in the top 3. Before we let you go, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Everybody here in CFG and my lady.
All right, buddy. Well, hopefully we can talk to you some more this season as you're back maybe in your comfortability there in the AM class. But take some time, celebrate this, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thank you, guys. See you guys.
As a driver of the 11th, third place finisher in the AM class here tonight, Christian Ortiz Torres, second place in the AM class tonight. And top 10 overall, once again, is going to be the 13 of Eli Singh.
Eli, Jimmy Carl in the booth. Welcome back, buddy. You had one hell of a race there. Found yourself with no bumper early on and had to take a quick repair, I see, and come back out. Why don't you give us a little rundown on how that happened and how the rest of your race went?
Yeah, I'm looking at it on my screen right now. Basically, we're cruising down. Me and Anthony Jenkins, my teammate, are cruising down, you know, the Sunset Boulevard, whatever the boulevard name is, having a great time, right? Bryce Reiner's in front of us. We're like, okay, we're chilling. He's in the Lambo. He looks fast. And then out of nowhere, like, Anthony had mentioned the lap before. He's like, hey, Bryce, you're blinking a little bit. He's like, okay, cool, no worries. He blinks out going into turn 1, like literally on his way, middle of turn 1, and then reappears sideways right in front of us. So he spun through turn 1. There was literally no warning. I mean, if we would have seen him spin, we could have braked up and you know taken to the left side to dodge him out, because he held his brakes. He did everything he needed to do.
Right.
He just blinked out, and so he appears. And my viewpoint from it is actually hilarious. It looks like it's a scene out of Saw with how big of a jump scare it is. But I mean, honestly, I got lucky that it was, you know, a light meatball. You know, it imploded my left front suspension, but not to the point that it was undrivable. Got it back to the pits, fueled up all the way to the end, and said, "Let's go and see what I can do." And
it at least worked in your benefit to be able to get back up there for another top 10 this week. So getting things done, still there in that AM class, even with a little bit of troubles at a very tough and treacherous course. So congratulations on your finish. And before we let you get out of here and celebrate, we'll give you some time for any shouts you might have.
Yeah, shout out to Anthony Jenkins, as always, my teammate. A little bit of a rougher race for both of us, but you know what? We made it work, and I think we're still doing really good in the team standings. Also to everybody at the Pun Crew, the racing team that we've got 4 teams racing Daytona this weekend, so I want to say shout out to all of you guys. If you're watching, you're all going to crush it this weekend. We're going to go get first place, 4 teams. It's going to be an absolute beastly weekend. And thanks again to Awesome Radness and the rest of the team that comes to support us. Really appreciate it.
Well, I hope to see you out there, as we'll be doing the same thing coming this Friday. So Good luck on your 24-hour run, and hopefully we'll see you again up here in the booth next week.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it, guys.
That is your second place finisher in the AM class tonight. Eli Singh in the 13. Top finisher tonight in the AM class is going to be Brandon Powell, coming home with a 7th place overall as well. And Brandon, first of all, welcome to the booth. It seems like every time I see you out there, I flash back to Bathurst and you doing that nice little beautiful corkscrew through the air. This is certainly a little bit better thing to talk to you about, though. Top step of the podium here tonight.
Yeah, I come a long way since that race, so it was a surprise to me as well to see me on the podium today, and especially in first place. I didn't, like I said last time, I was in 3rd place when I was talking to you guys. I had 0 practice for this race, and every bit of practice I tried to do 10 minutes before qualifying, I kept hitting the wall and I couldn't put a lap together. So I don't know how this happened today.
Well, I mean, it's not only the podium, it's not only top side of the podium, but a 7th place overall as well. I mean, that is certainly nothing to shake about on any track, but especially here in the tight confines of Long Beach. I mean, just a top 10 overall here is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. Honestly, I was just trying not to put it in the wall. And I was like, as long as I don't put it in the wall, I think I could actually have a decent turnout tonight. Well,
I talked to Christian Ortiz-Torres about the fact that this is probably more stressful, 45 minutes here than it is running your stint at Daytona 24 coming up this weekend. But you kind of almost have to handle it the same way. I mean, you need to keep that car clean the entire time, and there's no place to make any kind of mistakes for 45 minutes, or you got to keep it off that walls. And you did a hell of a job, and it was enough to get you the top step here in the AM class, 7th place overall. So congrats on the success tonight. Who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Definitely giving a shout out to the wife, all the admins that run the league, all the guys in the league, and definitely you guys for broadcasting. Really appreciate it, and I really enjoy racing with these guys.
All right, buddy. Well, congrats again on the win. Hopefully we see you up here in the podiums a little bit more often this season.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
That is your winner here in the AM class, the 831 of Brandon Powell. 3rd place in the pro class is going to be Rich Petrucco in the 27.
Hey, Rich, Jimmy and Carl, up in the booth, you copy?
Hello, gentlemen. How are you this evening?
Oh, not too bad. You had a pretty interesting race here tonight at this track, and definitely one of the harder ones on the schedule with all the confines, and it seems like everybody was cattled in there a little bit trying to make their way around. So give us a rundown how your race went for you.
Yeah, I really enjoy Long Beach typically, and this 2-car lock that we have this season is already starting to bite me because I wouldn't have chosen either of these cars that I have, and the Acura was the better of the 2. For me, I was quicker in the Acura than the Porsche. The Porsche is my 2nd car, and the 2 cars were very, very different. Those guys, Chris and Colin, they just had way more drive off the corners than I did, and I really just couldn't get the power down. And then at the end, I didn't take enough fuel. I had to save fuel. I ran out right at the end there. So kept it clean, got into the wall a little bit a couple times, but no real crazy damage, and just capitalized on others' mistakes and really just kind of riding around there at the end.
Yeah, I mean, you were able to at least capitalize and get yourself a good finish here this week, and now I have to, I don't know if you all have drop races or not, whatnot, but maybe this one, if this is your worst finish of the season, I want to complain too bad. Being able to survive tonight with, like I said, the confines of like the walls and stuff like that. I know how difficult it can be, but just want to say congratulations and give you a little bit of time for any shots on that car that you might have.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate it. It's we'll hope for some more podiums moving forward. Car's powered by Mardon PC, mardonpc.com. Obviously, all over the stream, but give me a shout on Discord or mardonpc.com if we can hook up your sim racing needs from 0 to hero. And Digital Sim Sports, myself, Craig Janczak. We're going to be jumping in the Ferrari GTP for the 24 hours of Daytona here coming up in a couple of days. So looking forward to that. And raceepi.com. Just appreciate everybody that supports, and can't wait to be back next week.
I wish you the best on your 24-hour adventure this weekend. As I think you guys will be in a little higher split than myself and Carl, but if anything,
what are you trying to say?
Out there. And,
wait, dragging me down, Jimmy.
We'll let you by. All right, we're gonna be a little bit slower. the LMP2. But again, best wishes for this weekend. Congratulations on tonight, and we'll let you go celebrate with your friends and family.
Hey, really appreciate it, guys. Have a great night.
That is your third place finisher in the Pro Class tonight, the 27 of Rich Petrucco. Second place is going to be Chris Hamilton by a mere half a second there behind is the 20. But Chris, it was one heck of a kind of an up and down race for everyone in front of you, and you decided to run that thing a little bit longer than everybody else. It looked like a lot of the drivers were coming in, kind of right around 13 to 15 laps into the race, but you decided to run that thing out to 20. Was that by design? Was that just kind of feel by the traffic out there?
It was by design. I wanted to go long, since less fuel the better. Sorry if you hear any clicking. I'm practicing for the next race you'll see here on CRN. Shameless plug. But the racing itself just kind of came to me. I wasn't pushing as hard as everybody else was. It's really, really hard to pass at Long Beach. So I just was trying to. I think it was a race more about survival than anything. And then when I came out behind Colin, I was like, oh. Well, I guess we got this right now, and I think I managed my tires a little better than he did. Just ran out of time. Yeah, and that was going to be my next question. I mean, did you have any kind of opportunities to get in there and make the pass? I mean, we've seen the pass on Petrucco, and we loved it, me and Jimmy up here in the booth, because it's kind of one of those passes that you need to have in your back pocket, and that's the pick move, using those lap cars to help you make that pass. But unfortunately, you didn't get that opportunity with Winslow. No, and I think it was just circumstantial. I think I saw the move, and he made a mistake, got myself alongside, the lap car was there, and just kind of sent it. So McCollum doesn't make that kind of mistakes. Well, he did make one mistake. It sounds like we're getting word that he's going to get DQ'd because he passed the pace car. As we see your famous safety car paint scheme on the car here. So we'll go ahead and make sure he gets a DQ for passing the pace car. Through iRacing here, and we'll go ahead and credit you with the win. But either way, second place here tonight is certainly great, and like you said, survival was key for sure. So congrats on the second. Who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to? Huge shout out to Parks de la Cruz for the iRacing paint scheme. That thing is awesome. Still, people get a kick out of it every time they see it, so I'll just keep it on. Thank you to you guys for broadcasting, and thanks to all the competitors for like over 20-something people for Long Beach. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, you love that paint scheme until that one time where the people behind you actually think you are the pace car and they go to drive through you. So it has happened. It has happened. All right, buddy. Well, enjoy the second place here tonight. We'll see you next week. All right. Take care, guys. That is your second place finisher overall and in the Pro Class of 20 of Chris Hamilton. Last but not least, your winner here tonight is going to be the 19 of Colin Winslow.
Hey, Colin, Jimmy, and Carl up in the booth. You copy? I got a copy. I mean, you set precedents from the get-go, getting the pole, and then not quite running away with it, but you had your hands full there a little bit at the end with Chris Hamilton, and obviously a challenge after stopping in the pits and working your way through traffic. But give us a little bit of rundown on how your race was and share your side of the story.
Yeah, I mean, it was mostly just survival. It felt like I was from probably like lap 4. It felt like we had to deal with lap traffic. I don't know. It felt like the entire race, just between the fuel saving and the tire saving and dealing with lap traffic, pit strategy, that it was all down to survival, honestly.
Yeah, survival being a key part of tonight, obviously, and you were able to out-survive all your competitors and placing you in first place. But how big of it? How focused were you for that 45 minutes? And are you kind of like mentally drained, or would you rather be running the Daytona 24-hour event?
Honestly, yeah, I kind of going through my head during that race. Actually, it was like, this is more chaotic than the Daytona 24 is about to be this weekend. So, it was just, I mean, lap traffic, when you're a faster class and you're dealing with slower class, it's arguably a lot easier than when you're, dealing with lap traffic that's in your own class, right? Like, it takes a lot more to get past them. And on a track like this, it's so tight. There's walls on both sides. There's no forgiveness as far as mistakes go. Dealing with lap traffic is a nightmare, really.
You mastered the traffic and the the walls here at the track tonight, getting you that win. So before we let you celebrate, want to give you some time for any shouts you may have on that car.
Yeah, shout out to my fiance Kaylee. Shout out to my entire family, my dad, my mom, my grandparents are all watching. So yeah.
Hi,
Shout
family.
out to you guys as well. yeah, whole family. Shout out to you guys as well. Y'all do a fantastic job, so thank you.
I really appreciate the shouts. And again, hi family, and everybody that supports us over here at CRN. But again, congratulations on the win tonight, and look forward to maybe possibly talking to you next week.
Sounds good, boys.
That is your winner here tonight, the 19 of Colin Winslow. I want to thank everybody again for tuning in tonight. And if you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe, get you in touch with everything that CRN has to offer. CSRL is brought to you in sponsorship by 40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 sim racing shoes, custom engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, while still providing the comfort needed for those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products, including the original racing gloves for your feet. At SimCraft, they create the most advanced customizable simulators for drivers and enthusiasts alike. Whether you're a professional racer looking for precision training or a home user seeking an immersive experience, SimCraft delivers unparalleled performance. SimCraft is trusted by real-world professionals with over 74 client championships, including 18 in 2024. Their advanced simulators provide unmatched precision and performance, empowering drivers to excel at every level. Join the ranks of champions who rely on SimCraft to elevate their training and development. For modern PC, they are focused on providing high-quality PCs, rigs, and components at an affordable price. Your investment in sim racing is exactly the same as racing with an actual car. They take the same methodology here at Martin. From the engine, PC, to the chassis, rig, pedals, wheels, and shifter, you deserve components that match your desire to compete. For myself and Jimmy here in the CRN booth, that is going to do it for us tonight. Make sure you tune in the rest of the week and next week for CSRL as well. But for myself and Jimmy here from the Long Beach Street Circuit, we'll see you at the track.
Peace.